Hey, David, or David, I think. Welcome back.
Hey yeah, it's David.
So, we finished the last episode talking about J4C, right? And it was the secret name of Helidon.
Yeah, that was the initial name of it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Were you from the beginning there involved? Or how early you were involved in?
Actually, I joined J4C or Helidon a little bit later, not like super late. It was before the release of the Helidon 1 version.
Okay.
But I was not there since the early stages of the development, but rather a little bit later.
So who were at the very beginning? Dimitri, I guess.
Yeah, Dimitri was there. Thomas Lange was there, and I would like to avoid pronouncing some of the names because I do not want to butcher them up. But some other guys from the America and stuff. So
okay,
yeah.
And you were employee number what on Helidon, or developer number?
It's hard to say, to be fair. I have never thought about it this way, but I think okay. So there was Thomas, and there this project was developed before by other team as well. I think like 10 maybe or something like that.
Okay,
it could be very easily
or
13, something like that, but low numbers. It's not like 30 or 40 or something like that.
Yeah, but 14 developers for a project is still a lot, I would say.
Yeah, well, there were two teams back in the day. I mean, one initial team, and that team resigned from Oracle, and then it was moved to other team, and that team was actually that's the same team.
The
which
entire
is
team resigned.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a drama, almost,
Yeah, there was something.
A drama. Okay, that's but maybe it's your fault. Then Java EE came late, right? because I think I always heard Oracle is working on a secret project, and maybe it was J4C, and this is why the engineers had no time, to deliver Java EE. So this is what the rumors were, right?
I don't really know, but I don't think this is the project.
So we can blame you now. Now you're the official, problem.
I'm glad to be the one to blame.
Yeah, very good. But what's more interesting is, so if you join the project, so every project has a vision. Yep. So what is your onboarding? You say, okay, we're developing, Helidon or J4C because what? So it should be the fastest, smallest, most modular, or what was the origin goal, vision, or whatever?
Right. Yeah. The vision of the project was basically to develop the framework for microservices and to use it as well in the Oracle Cloud, to have it native there, to provide it as a feature for the customers in some way. And that was like the initial thought. That was the thought we were working with, that we would like to introduce something like this, something closely cooperating with native image and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so the native image was always there, and
yeah, well, it's actually a team we are working very close to. So this was something we had in mind as well.
Yeah, it's pretty cool because if you're working on Oracle, it's a Java source, so you have access to all the teams if you are nice, right?
Yeah, and by the way, just this is just this is just like interesting thing. We are actually sitting right next to the Graal VM team. They are like really next to us directly. So the cooperation was, if we needed some consultation and stuff, we could just go there and talk to.
Yeah, maybe it's noisy. They have party all the time, right? The RVM guys.
Yeah.
Okay. So what was your first day at Helidon?
Let me think about it. The first day on Helidon. I think I was completely lost, if I recall correctly. I wasn't sure where to start because even though I joined at the beginning, there was actually quite a lot of things to to get into, and quite a lot of stuff to get familiar with. So I recall that I was pretty lost there at that moment, and I was thinking that I would like to basically find an area there in Helidon which I would like to really focus on and to be the developer of that. And that was actually something also others were telling me to do. So yeah, so I was mainly focusing on getting myself familiar with the web server, the reactive part of it. And I was told later that I will be developing the web client, the reactive web client we had, and or have as well, but not in the newest version of Helidon. And I was the original author of it. I developed it. That was the first assignment of mine to do.
So you joined just as a generic developer Helidon, and then you got
basically.
Okay,
basically, there was no specialization for me at that moment. I wasn't exactly sure what I will be doing there when I was joining, or when my manager asked me to join. But I ended up.
So you joined as a worker bean and then became specialized, right?
Something like that.
Okay, so. Okay, that's interesting because it always is interesting. So if your project starts, what are the goals? And in my particular case, if I join a project, I would like to know why we are building this. And if I know this, it's very easy, and also or not very easy. It is easier to know how the architecture looks like, how it should be run, where it should run. But if you just join a project, a large one, and no one knows why it is there except it has to be built, and with the budget, this is the worst, right? So this is why.
Yeah.
But I already suspect it has to be small and lean and.
Yeah. Well, no, in terms of architecture, this particular one was tricky because, or at least for me, because until that time, I basically worked with the reactive components, like really only slightly, only in certain cases. Not, I didn't have much opportunity to do work with those. And when I joined, basically all my work was based on them, and it was it was really hard for me to get familiar with it, to change my thought process, to think about it not as a blocking piece of code, but rather that every single time when there is any operation which needs to hold and wait for something, and it's not just code which runs and it's fast, I need to do it the reactive way. And it was probably the hardest thing I had when I joined the project, and for a couple of months actually to get my head around this, that I have to do these things this way, because if I wouldn't, I would basically butcher everything we have developed around the reactive components, and it would be completely against the whole idea of it, right? So,
what does reactive means to you? So reactive programming. If you mention reactive programming, what is it?
For me, at this point, which I'm referring to, it was mainly the way how I'm coding, that I cannot block anywhere. And instead of just performing the blocking operation, I should use some I don't know, complete stable stages or any other reactive operators, and to do the work. So that was really that, because it's completely different way of coding. You have to do it properly for your program to work
blocking to you,
right? Sorry.
So what means
blocking for me? Blocking like for example, I don't know, reading file from the disk or waiting for some data.
Let's do this. So I have a method called files read string, and you would like to call it from Helidon in reactive way,
right?
What will you do?
At this moment, if I would do this, I would probably to call it in some. Yeah, I'm thinking. I would call it in some completable stage, which would be doing this particular operation, and the method which would be called to read the file, for example, or wait for some data from the internet or whatever. I would just return a callback, the completable stage itself, and then once I would invoke this particular the chain of callbacks, right? Those stages and stuff like that at certain place, I would not be blocked. I mean, sir, sure, no, not sir. The particular thread which is operating this would be blocked, but not, for example, a server thread or anything. So,
I just wanted to hear the completable future or completion stage, which is part of it.
Yeah.
Because what it means is this reactive programming in Helidon means we use Java SE primitives.
Yeah.
Okay, so you don't have an internal framework. This is what our school use.
Actually, we do. Okay. It was developed by Daniel Katz and David Carnog. And they developed a framework. Those were the reactive operators for Helidon SE, and it had also an integration with the completable stages. So you could use those together if you wanted, but we had reactive operators such as multi or single, and then corresponding operations on those.
Almost like Smorai Mutiny.
Yeah. It's like a variation to other frameworks, to other reactive operators out there. It's just slightly different names, but basically the same thing for that.
So what just interesting, what would happen with the callback? Because the callback has to be passed to the web server back, right? And the web server then will have to call it, or we will hope that it is resolved until then. And then the server will just, in one point of time, where I'm going with it, the server will have to block the thread or park the thread, park the thread, and then wait without blocking. And then, get the string and send it back. So this will happen, at the boundary to the application, right?
Yeah. And this is basically how it works. I mean, the server, of course, there are certain cases like that the server is performing this chain of commands. But the thing is that the server thread is never blocked, and that's basically the idea, right? And you are trying to utilize the sources as best as possible. I'm not sure if I answered a question correctly right now. I mean, that's what you were asking about, but
this is not correctly. What I was curious is you said you had to work so reactive programming, and I just wanted to hear what you did, right?
Yeah.
And this is also what I did. I used the completable future a lot.
Yeah.
And you also did the completion stages the same.
Yeah.
And this was why I was curious, because my impression is the Helidon Java SE is as close to Java SE as possible. So I was just curious, is it also the case in the reactive programming? And this is what I like. So this was the question. And I was also curious to know what happens with the callback. So the follow-up question idea was, I know already the answer, because you have a paranoid, performance team, I learned, right? So they testing, entire time and try to prevent regressions. But I usually, in my project, I wouldn't care that much that whether it's one thread or 10, because this is not a huge performance impact in business projects. And my projects are boring. So maybe I have at most a few hundreds transactions per second at most. Mm-hmm. But if you are talking about building routers for the cloud, you can have 10,000 of transactions per second. And then the one single thread is important, right? So, okay, so I get you. So this completable future, you have to program completely differently, because you have the callbacks everywhere. So you do something and then you pass callback back, and then someone has to wait without blocking. So waiting without blocking is the trick, and this is exactly. But in the end, you could just work with it. And also, you did the completable future. Now you can do the supply async and so forth. So you build a chain of operations, or was it more like you just wrapped one operation? Or you remember that? Just curious.
Like you mean with the reactive components we had?
No, with just straight completable future. So if you have completable future, you can say supply async, and you pass my method with the file there, and then saying if this is done, and then do something different, and at the end, throw an exception or whatever. So you could chain, the method just with completable future. So the question was, you did something like this, or you just say, okay, now I'm just calling methods, and was just curious what was the feeling of?
Basically we had one initial point, and then we had several operations bound to each other, when one finished, the other was called, and stuff like that. Basically this part
like a flow, right?
Yeah,
so you
exactly.
Had to
Flow,
okay, cool. Okay, and the client, was it microprofile REST client, or what you did then?
I actually did both. I did microprofile REST client implementation. I did that and committed that to Jersey, and then, or better to say, this one was the second one I have done. The first one I have done was the reactive REST web client itself. It was the part of Helidon SE. That means the smaller of our two flavors, the one which is basically as small as possible, and it had reactive components in it. And that was the Helidon web client. That was the first thing I've done, and the REST client, the microprofile REST client implementation. That was the second one I had.
So is Jersey core component of Helidon, or you just borrowing components? What is the relation between Helidon and Jersey?
Helidon and Jersey, we are using Jersey in Helidon MP. So we are connected with Jersey in that way, and since Helidon
also neighbors.
Sorry?
On the other side,
Sorry.
Also neighbors, your neighbors on the other side?
Well, that's one of my colleagues, actually. He is...
okay,
He is a part of the team. I mean, not the team of... Well, technically, he's part of the team of Helidon, but he's really just taking care of Jersey these days, mainly. So, but he's the same... he's the member of the same team I'm a member of, so...
So is a nice colleague?
Yeah, he's great. I really like him.
What is his name?
It's Jan Schupol.
Ah, okay. So also have to invite him to.
Yeah, I heard. Daniel already told me that he talked to you about that you would like to invite him, but
yeah, exactly.
I don't know if it went anywhere or any.
It will went. So the podcast is just leisure activity, and the cool story is my guest queue is overflowing, right? And I get frequent emails like from marketing agencies, or like, I think we need additional guests, and I say, oh no, I don't need. I need a nice guest, right? But please stop. So like, I don't know, I get emails requests from everywhere. Everyone would like to be on the podcast, but I like to pick people from the Java community just found in our podcast and would like to promote their stuff, which is not allowed on the AirHacks FM. So okay, cool. So we have the Jersey, and Jersey is interesting because you can boot Jersey without Helidon, right? So this is like own runtime almost. So you can you can use Jersey components, I would say, but not the Jersey runtime, right? So in Helidon, it just borrows the parsers or whatever for JAX-RS, I guess. And okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, and is Jersey developed by their own, or is it pushed by Helidon? So is Helidon the major contributor to the issue?
No. Helidon is actually just using the components they are developing, and if there is anything we need, we are usually talking with Jan, I have mentioned before, and we are asking him to do the changes and to for example, do a new release for us if we need that and stuff. So, but we are not main contributors there. We are having quite a lot of stuff to do ourselves on Helidon, so we are not.
No, but you are requesting lots of features, so it's like the Jersey are contributing a lot, also are motivated to help you a lot. So the question is, who creates the most issues for Jersey? This is the question. Is it like Helidon, or is it the other project, or WebLogic, or who?
I think for Jersey these days it's like the community itself, not the Helidon itself, because I think quite a lot of features are already present in Jersey, so we are not requesting new features that often. It's more or less from time to time that when we encounter something, I don't know, some bug or some really new feature request that we would like to some feature to work differently or be customizable or something like that. So the feature requests are more of this kind, but it's not that often as you might think that we are requesting new features from Jersey, because really, as I said it, they are having most of it already implemented. It's a huge framework. So
in 2021, Jersey was contributed, or earlier even, to Eclipse, right?
Yeah,
so
it was the part of when we were donating the Java EE implementations and stuff. Yeah, I was actually doing that.
Okay, I can imagine this is a hard stuff. This is mine. Lots of looking through the commits and stuff like that. So it's unpleasant work.
We had to go through the whole code in all of the implementations and everything, and check everything, whether the licenses are correct, whether we are not giving anything we shouldn't, and it took several months.
Yeah, this is what people blamed Oracle, like evil Oracle doesn't like to contribute on the problems they really wanted to do, but this is a lot of work, right? This is the problem. So everyone worked like crazy, to contribute to open source, and they got still hit from outside and say, okay, just don't know why it doesn't happen faster. So and the Jan Supol is on fire, so he commits a lot to Jersey. So even recently, so it's still very active project.
He's basically the lead of it, if I recall correctly, even. I mean,
but what I like about that is there's another guy called Maxim Niesen.
Yeah, that's my
He's
second
also very
colleague.
active.
Yeah.
And Beskos Gascon from Prague.
That's Jorge. Yeah, that's my colleague as well.
And there are still, Daniel Katz. So very lazy, I would say. It's just one commit. We have to talk with Daniel, right? But there are lots of external contributors, which is nice to see after all these years. So we are talking about Jersey 2. There was Jersey 1 with, I think, even different repository, I guess.
Jersey, well, it used to be in a different repository before the donation, if you mean that.
Because I only can look back until 2018, maybe. This is what I see. And but still, the project doesn't. So there was, I would say, late 2020. There was a spike of contributions, and now it is also getting more and more. So it looks actually great. Very active project.
Yeah, they are.
So you created the Microprofile REST client and the Java SE client. And question, if you, what do you think is more popular, Helidon Microprofile or Helidon SE?
I think for regular users who are used to use injection stuff and who are used to JXRS in general, I think definitely Helidon MP. Because it contains all the magical frameworks which are doing stuff for you and stuff like that. But I have also encountered that people are using quite a lot Helidon SE because of its lightness, because how you are just having the libraries you really need, and you are having only you have very small footprint and not that many things around the whole thing, and you are developing just the route, and basically everything is up to you how it will work and stuff. So I have encountered actually quite a lot of cases where people are using Helidon SE, and I think those are the cases where you really do not care that much about the features like injection and stuff, but rather about the performance and Yeah. So I think.
But performance, I mean, I don't think this Java SE is a lot faster than MP, right? Is it really a difference?
I think yes. Helidon
Really?
Helidon. I mean, it's not a huge difference, but the Helidon SE is definitely faster because it lacks the huge parts of the Helidon MP. So it's definitely more lightweight than the Helidon MP itself.
The question is, if you're building an application, it's still the case, right? Because you have microprofile REST client. Microprofile like injection and all the stuff. If you inject things, and you say you have application scope or request scope, so you can switch back and forth, measure the performance. If you have Java SE, there is no injection. So if you just create something with new, right? This is with new, and if there is slow, you have to rewrite the entire thing. So if you know what you are doing exactly, maybe you are a bit faster, but I suspect no more than 10%, right? I don't think there's a huge. You cannot just be a lot faster with Java SE. Highly optimized.
To be fair, I do not have any numbers in mind right now.
This would be interesting. This would be interesting, to build, with microprofile, Hello World with JAX-RS, and do the same with Java SE. And so, like, a view classes, not just one class. This is more. You would have, one facade and view injected logic classes. On the Java SE side, you don't use injection. You create either static interfaces or whatever you would like to do. And then they compare the performance. It could be interesting, right? So interesting exercise. Student, for instance. For a student would be perfect. Just create small applications, exactly the same output twice, compare the source code and compare the performance. Would be interesting.
I guess so. I think we actually even have something like that. But really, I do not recall the numbers right now.
No. It's just always interesting performance, because you said, there's this lightweight, and I had it, in other projects. I don't know, you sure know, Whitefly and JBoss. And they also said there's this lightweight Whitefly swarm in one point of time, and Thorntail. And I look at that, this is a little bit more lightweight, but it's not worth, It was a little bit smaller, a little bit faster, but it didn't matter at all in my project. So there was like, a small optimization with a unique snowflake. So this is what...
I know what you mean.
Yeah. Okay, but then you lost interests on web, right? So say web clients and the microprofile REST client and JAX-RS is boring stuff. What happened then? So how you switched?
I wouldn't say I lost interest. I actually like it still. But I was thinking about... I found out that I really enjoy cryptography and security in general. I really do enjoy these topics because I mainly got into that when I was thinking about developing myself some tool for file encryption, and since I would like to use some cloud storages, but such as, I don't know, Google Drive and OneDrive and stuff like those, and but I was concerned about the privacy. I do not want anyone to or any automated system or anything to poke through my files. And I never know how the provider of the services developed their services, even though they are claiming, for example, end-to-end encryption and stuff like that. We do not have access to anything, but is it really? And even though there are good reviews and stuff, and I was thinking, hey, I will develop the tool myself, and
on that note, right? Even if they are perfect, what can happen is they can decommission the servers, throw away the hard drives, and then someone will find the hard drives. They're unencrypted. They will find your files. So it is. If you encrypt before uploading, you're on the safe side.
Yeah, it should be. Yeah. And that's actually what I have done. I have developed myself a small program, which
is on GitHub.
It's not. I was thinking about open sourcing it, but I got to 75% of completeness, and then I dropped it because it works. What for cases I need it, but it has quite a few of UI bugs, but I know about those, so I just avoiding them, and I'm using this tool even these days for encrypting this stuff.
In my case, it is reverse, right? So the first commit is not usable on my GitHub, so you see lots of projects which are half-baked, And then one client says, we would like to have it. And since then, I have no time to contribute to open source and just keep working for the client, and extending the projects. In your case, is reverse. So you would like the first commit is perfect, right? In GitHub.
Yeah, well, I would like to provide basically the functional product first and then improve it.
Oh, really? But if you say, okay, this is not non-functional, but I'm almost there, then the community can still look at this, but there is no expectation that it works, right? So, I mean...
Maybe, but yeah.
Okay,
I guess.
So interesting. We have complete different perspectives. For me, GitHub is like, I have an idea, create a repository.
Oh, I see.
And then this is like reminder. Okay, if I have some time, I clone it, work on it, and push it, and there are no expectation that it's working. And do not promote it. I have lots of recent projects just for fun. And for instance, yesterday I checked in something which just I could print colorful statements in one of my projects, and this is not even built in. I just had the idea in the train, so I pushed the code, and it happened. And the next time I'm in train, I will pick it, look at the commits. Oh, I did it. Then let's proceed with it.
Right.
Just like a fun project. So the fun project like this, the more serious project are a bit different. So the difference is, in my serious project, we have at least a pipeline or something. Mm-hmm. So you cannot just push stuff. And it has at least to work. So, but interesting part. Yep. So you enjoyed encryption, or you still enjoy encryption?
I still enjoy it. It's awesome thing to work with. So
what you did? You asked Dimitri, I would like to encrypt Helidon. Oh,
well, not Helidon itself, but I was thinking about, okay, so this encryption stuff and this knowledge and security I got myself, it could be used in Helidon as well, because hey, we are having their security modules for our users to secure their endpoints, right? We are having there also an encryption for config files, for example, and stuff like that. So I went through the code and I asked, I asked Dimitri to allocate me some time to be able to do that. And I went through the code, whether everything is correctly done, whether correct methods and good practices are used there and stuff. And then I came up with some ideas how to improve stuff and how to develop new tools over that to basically create, not do the same approach in every module we need encryption, but rather to have one central point where this component, this encrypting thing component is located, and then it's used in the whole project whenever it's needed. And it does the thing for you. You do not need to know how to encrypt stuff. You are just using this component. And so that's what I have done. Then I have reworked the code a bit to follow that. And these days, I'm mainly working on improving the security providers, for example, in Helidon. And of course, if there are basically any security things, everything goes to me to work on that, either enhancements or bug fixes and stuff like that.
And I thought, you look at the code, everything was perfect, was nothing to improve, so I went to vacation. This was
I wish.
But what's interesting part is the encrypting of files. So let's say the config file is encrypted in Helidon.
Not the whole config. Just a single value, for example.
Okay, it is even more complicated. So and a single value. If you decrypt the value, where you get the private key? So where is the private key stored?
It's usually in some key stores, for example, or if it is about the AS, you are usually providing the password for it. So you are some other place where you are providing the password, for example, via some property. So you do not have it hard coded into the config file. So it's not in the sources anywhere. There is just that encrypted part and stuff like that. So
let's say I would like to have one value. Let's say this is like the JDBC password. Yeah. I have a Helidon just working on my machine, no Docker, nothing. And I would like to encrypt the password of the database. What was the simplest possible thing to do with Helidon?
What I would do, I would just encrypt it with AES. We are having also a tool for that, which will do it for you.
What's the name of the tool? You know it? The name of the tool?
Oh, not from top of my head.
Is it in the part of the Helidon CLI?
Yes, it's. To be fair, I don't know whether it's a part of CLI, but definitely there is a runnable component. I guess so. When I think about it right now, I think it should, but I don't know whether it really is. But definitely what you can do is there is a runnable class which you can use, for example, from command line or whatever.
Okay.
And you will provide a password and the stuff you want to encrypt. And it will encrypt it for you. And then all you need to do is just to provide a password for the successful decryption.
And you can in Helidon just rely completely on JDK, or do you have to use Bouncy Castle, for instance?
That was one of the thoughts we were having, basically to limit the third-party libraries as much as possible, because the more libraries you are having, the bigger risk you are having to be vulnerable to CVEs or anything. So we were really trying to limit it as much as possible, and that's something we are doing till these days as well. We are rather quite often developing something ourselves than reuse something and stuff. And we are using only JDK crypto stuff rather than Bouncy Castle.
This is very good. And this is also what I like on Helidon. This is like, it was, at least I look at this, it was like, a simple jar, self-included. So this is what I like, this is like Java SE only or microprofile only server, which I really appreciate. And I also try to do that. Sometimes not easy, the ECDH, for instance, encryption in Bouncy Castle is a bit easier than with plain JDK, for instance, but it's doable. But you have to write more code, right?
Yeah, it is. Sometimes it's, let's say, a little harder to work with, but hey, once we did it, we are having the tool for it and it works, so we are golden.
Okay, there's a tool, runnable thing, which you can invoke, and it encrypts with a password. So now, if Helidon starts, Helidon needs the password. So I would have to provide a password at start, or what's the story there?
You can provide this password, for example, over the system property. So it's not hard coded into your sources anywhere. It's basically not present in the sources in general, like in GitHub or anything. And you will provide it just for the runtime. We will take it and we will decrypt the value with it.
And are you doing defensive stuff, like, for instance, the Java security library? You can clear, the secrets in memory and stuff like that. So you do more of that, or just?
I'm trying to basically keep the password and or have it in memory in general, just for the time I really need it. I'm in most of the cases, or at least. And to be fair, I do not recall from top of my head right now, because it's quite a long time since I developed this crypto tool for Helidon. But I think I have done it very similarly to how I was developing that file encryption tool I have mentioned before. And I know that I have been storing the password mainly in byte arrays to be able to very easily clear it up once I do not need it. And,
this is what I mean. So your programming style is different in the crypto area, right? So you rely more tricks, because if someone does heap dump, for instance, later, could just get the password. So you're just minimizing the risk that someone gets.
Yeah, I think I followed the same approach in the developing of this component, if I recall. Yeah, but this really it's quite a long time.
No, it's it just interests me, because it's always the question where the private key is stored, or password, or whatever, right? Yeah. So if you start a server and the server has to decrypt something, it has to know the keys.
Yeah, and
Okay, so we had the encryption of values, but there is more. Are you also involved in authentication and authorization, or is it less so?
Well, basically, let me clarify on that. Maybe the security in general, like the whole concept, how it works and stuff. It was developed by Thomas Langer at the beginning of the Helidon, before the release of Helidon 1, and it basically has the same structure more or less until these days. And I am just fixing bugs there, making some enhancements when it's needed. So sure, yes, I'm doing also these authentication and authorization stuff, but I'm not the original author of the architecture of the stuff. I just wanted to clarify for you to know it.
Okay, no problem. But what is the authentication authorization architecture? So briefly.
Okay, so basically, when the request comes, we are running it through the authentication. It depends on the provider you have selected, but it authenticates the user based on the provided information. And
which provider do you have? So like,
for example,
basic authentication?
Yeah, basic, definitely. That's like, that's the basic, right? So yeah, we are having the basic authentication. Then we are having, for example, the OIDC one,
Cool.
and yeah, that's something I'm these days enhancing a bit, and those are like the main ones we are having there.
So enhancing the OpenID Connect. So what it means is you also have to use maybe your old, HTTP client to talk, to the endpoints and receive the data, token info, user info, and stuff like. Because.
Oh, you mean you mean that
the flow, implicit flow.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
So for that, you have to communicate with external servers. So I guess you're using your own clients, HTTP clients.
Of course, yeah. Yes, we are using it for that as well, and it's basically the whole communication, the flow itself. It's part of the provider, so we are just user just basically provides the configuration where the external server is configured. There are some URIs for it, right? And we are taking basically we are doing everything else. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Cool. So, but because you mentioned that you're working on the security providers, right? But that's not these providers. Is this like different providers, or this what you?
This is what I'm working on. This is like the security in general. So this stuff is what I'm currently working on.
Okay.
And actually, the OIDC is the latest, what I'm working on right now.
Okay, so what you did so far? I mean, what was the goal?
You mean in the OIDC stuff?
Yeah, security or security provider in general, because you switch, from the web stuff to encrypting basically and security. So I guess both are similar, right? So like reviewing security, and now you are authentication, authorization is I would also call it security.
Yeah. But it's part of the security. We are calling it like the bundle, overall bundle of everything crypto related, or the stuff where we are securing the endpoint for user. That's like security for us in like the whole bundle. But
so what you did since what were your tasks? Roughly from between the HTTP client stuff and now.
What I've done there, for example, we introduced multi-tenancy for OIDC. So
how it works?
Well, basically, you are providing some specialized name or some name of this tenant configuration, such as you can have for certain case you can have specific configuration, and then when the client calls you, it can provide via headers or something like that, so some parts like that. I mean, it can provide other tenant name which basically targets different configuration, which involves a different authentication server to use and stuff like that. So this is what I've introduced. This is one of the things. And these days, actually, I have introduced, there is a PR right now waiting for that. This is about utilizing ID token, because we didn't use it properly back before. We were not using it actually at all. And so now we are using ID token for authentication, and the access token for authorization. Now it's properly implemented to do it the way it should.
I'm confused both. Access token has no, there are no claims, and the ID token has like JSON Web Token, right? This is complete.
Actually, both of them could be JSON Web Tokens.
Okay.
It depends.
Yeah, but one has the the I think it's called scopes, where there are additional information, and the other one is just the identity. Oh, then ID token is the identity, just the identity.
Exactly.
I will never forget it. ID has just the identity information, and the access token. But the access token has to more than ID, right? So the access token is supposed always to have the scopes.
It gives you the idea which groups you are in. So
exactly.
That means, for example, to which endpoints you are having access and stuff. And the ID token is there for authentication. That's as you have said it. It's basically about the identity of the caller.
Yeah. I will never confuse ID token on access token again. So this was perfect. It's already the podcast worth, because for years I always confused them. Okay, cool. So what else on the horizon in the security space for you?
I would have to check my backlog there.
No, it doesn't know, because you said you are really into security. It's something you would like really without a backlog. But you're interested in
what I'm interested in. Yeah. For me, I actually really liked the OIDC in general. I really liked working with it, because I don't know, I just liked it. And I was thinking about getting myself more into different flows and to understand it better and deeper, let's say. And basically that area is something what I like probably the best out of the providers we are currently having. I mean, that it's the most interesting because it's really complex. It's nothing easy, and to be fair, I like challenges, and this is definitely a big challenge for me. And yeah, in terms of what I would like to focus on, what I would like to work on, this is definitely something.
Yeah, cool. But this what every project needs as well. So in every project we have OpenID Connect, JSON Web Token, authentication, authorization discussion always. And and the next question is which flow to use. And I would say the most popular are implicit, and then the I think this is authorization code flow. So I'm unprepared for authorization flow, I think, right?
Yeah, there are quite a few flows actually, and
but the three are viable. I would say the client flow is needed for machine-to-machine communication. There's the implicit flow for web, but it is less secure because you are not exchanging the tokens, so you just get the ID token now right away back. And the authorization code flow, there's interaction, so you go to the server and you are exchanging the intermediary token. Is it access token, refresh token? I think so. You get,
well, if you are refreshing access token, you are using refresh token for that.
But at the beginning, you get the first token is what is it? So in the authorization code flow, you get the very first token.
Yeah, I know.
And
exactly
with this token, you get the next token.
There is
and
this,
the indirection is additional security.
Is this authorization code, if I recall correctly?
Exactly. This is right. It's not a token. It's just a code.
Yeah, it's code you provide.
Code and state. Exactly. Code and state. You get it back, and with that, you are exchanging this against access or ID tokens or what I forgot. But this is the reason why the authorization code flow is more secure than the implicit flow, because you already get the token back, and if someone who listens in between and hacks you, then they have the token. So this is the basic answer. And I think there are lots of flows, but a few are not outdated, but you should not use without a reason. And the most important one also is machine-to-machine communication. I think is client flow, right? Where one Helidon would talk to another Helidon without the user. And then you will, I think you need a secret, and you get the token immediately, and you can talk to other Helidon. This would be
that's something we are currently do not have, if I recall correctly. I mean, that we do not support that. We are supporting the one you have mentioned with that authorization code, but not this client one.
Oh, you see,
there's an authorization code flow. We are supporting.
Next thing, which I'll never forget, authorization code flow, and the first interaction you get the authorization code back. Yeah. This is the reason why the name. Now I talk with you, exactly. And now I will never forget that. I always forgot what's the name of the first token, but this is obvious. Authorization code flow. The name of the first thing is authorization code. This is why we should talk more often on podcasts, so we learn a lot. And I'm already happy. ID token, access token, and authorization code. So I learned. I will never confuse this again. And I think we can stop here. So sure. And I would like to reinvite you back anyway to talk about some secret stuff, which not that secret, but very interesting, with sure some parsers maybe next time. Mm-hmm. And so where people can find you in Blue Sky, on Twitter, on GitHub, on Helidon, or wherever you like. So if you have a forum on Helidon, go ahead. So promote your stuff.
Right. Yeah. Exactly as you mentioned, I'm on Helidon. Sorry, I'm on GitHub.
I'm on GitHub. This is the secret project. This is the replacement of Twitter. The name is Helidon H. The project H, not X. Right?
I'm on GitHub. And I'm also on Twitter or X these days, and Blue Sky as well. So feel free to reach me out there. If you have any question, I will be very glad to answer those and help you out. And
especially if you have someone that's question regarding tokens. What's the name?
Oh, right? Yeah. So how I can imagine I'll get those questions now.
Don't call me. Call David, because I think I will forget it tomorrow. So
and I will not, because of that, very likely, because this is something when I forget something and I'm called out to explain those exactly as in this particular podcast, I will never forget that after that, because this really annoys me to forget these things. And
I know expert in token naming. So the next time we meet, we should prepare something which you don't know and talk about that. So this is the speed learning. So
nice. I will not tell you what I don't know.
Yeah, what I confuse always, what I learned now, because I think about this now, the things in the Java records are called components, but I couldn't remember. I say, what's the name? Is it fields, not fields, attributes? But the official name of the things in Java record classes are components. I hope it is right. So there's also one thing which I always forgot to know.
To be fair, I would be calling it just plain and simple fields and methods, as I call it in any class. So I didn't know that it's called components either, but I would just call it this way. Because it is
not just field. Because this is the field, the getter, all the mechanism behind the scenes. So there's more than this. And I always forgot. But then once I also had a chat about that. So, hey, components. Okay, now I hope this is the right term, but I guess so. So I wish you all the best, and see you soon, and talk about fast parsers the next time.
Yeah. Right? Well, I'm glad to be here. Thank you very much for inviting me, and see you next time.